Hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for joining and tuning in with us today. I am Marie Dene. I'm the creator and the owner of the Curvy Fashionista, your plus size fashion resource destination, and we are back with speaking with curves. Speaking of curves, and today we have this very special guest today. I'm really excited. Because I've known them for quite a while, and it's really cool anytime that you see a blogger evolve and create their own business, their own platforms, and really find their journey, find their space along the journey. And today we are meeting here with Darlene of Suits, Heels, and Curves, but we are going to be talking about her new business venture with her partner, and I want you guys to say hello. So while you guys are joining in, say hello, let us know where you're tuning in from. Have you caught this before? Share it with someone, especially if you have a blogger boo who's trying to get rid of clothes. So let's say hello to Miss Darlene. Hello, darling.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I mean, so you're in New York. How's the weather up there?
It is so gloomy today. It has been very all over the place. We had a very nice Saturday and Sunday, and then it got gloomy again. I think it's going to be 70 on Sunday. So it's super unpredictable. I think it's just kind of going with the wave of what everyone's feeling right now.
Oh, down here it's kind of overcast-ish. But in California, it's 80 and 70 and 90.
I need some of that.
I would like some of that just so I can sit out on my patio and sip coffee and stare at the trees.
Yes, I hear you on that. We kind of over anticipated how warm it was going to be. We thought it was going to get warmer faster here in New York.
Okay.
And so we bought all this outdoor stuff, and now it's just sitting there, and I'm like, I want to use my backyard, but it's so cold today.
Well, maybe just today. Hopefully it warms up. So, hopefully.
Yes.
So, for those who don't know, break it down. We have blogger, house, curvy, closet. And before you break it down, this is the iteration or the redo of the IG wives. Am I right?
No, actually. So there's a lot of people think that it's kind of the next phase of the IG Wives. And both initiatives were kind of slightly different. Instagram Wives happened very naturally as me and Sandra and Jamie got together. We lived in the same neighborhood. We were all bloggers, and we were all just kind of looking for a friendship and a bond within this community. And we connected, and we just had a lot of fun creating content. We still do. We're very close friends. We still do a lot of things together. Blogger House honestly started one day, and I always tell people, you never know when your mission or when your life's journey is going to come knocking on your door unexpectedly. And it was exactly that. I was sitting in my living room, as many of influencers suffer with the same issue of having too much clothes. And I live in New York. And
what's too much clothes?
Girl, when you are storing in every single closet, the attic, the garage, and then some, you can go without washing clothes for several months, we have a problem. And so that was the situation. And while I live in New York in a house, I have a very small house because it's New York. And I said, I just have to get rid of some of this clothes, and I want to give back to my community. So I went on Facebook Live, and very grassroots, for not, wanting to use another term. I set up my camera with my ring light, and I started selling on Facebook. And if you go back to some of that old footage, it is so embarrassing. I didn't even have numbers.
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. It's all about progress, right?
Exactly. So I literally was like, do you want this red Tory dress? Just type in red Tory dress 1. It was chaos and crazy. But on that first sale, I sold over 80 pieces. And
the fact that you had 80 pieces to sell.
Yes, I had 80 pieces on my first. We went for 2 years just selling our closet, Sandra and I. After this first sale, Sandra lives in the house. We both share this house. And I ran downstairs and I was like, oh my God, I think I stumbled onto something. for 2 years, we sold our closets and we started seeing we were running out of clothes. And then we said, okay, what's the next step? What are we going to do once we are done with clothing with this business? And Madeline Jones reached out to us and said, hey, I've been selling my clothes on a competitor site, and I'm just kind of over it. Would you guys sell my clothes? And we said, oh, okay.
Idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you identified a problem in your own home. You found a way to monetize, to improve upon, to grow. And now you are selling other folks' clothes, other influencers' clothes. So after with Maddie, what happened?
So after with Maddie, we started getting contacted by different influencers. Even we call our community the BHCC squad. So our squad members started saying, hey, will you sell our stuff? And we said, sure. And from there, we started having weekly sale. We have 2 a week now on Thursdays. We have one tonight. And then we have one on Sunday at 7 p.m., always 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just started scheduling out. At one point, we needed to schedule influencers out 2 to 3 months out because we had so much clothing from all the different influencers we were working with. Many of them, very renowned in the industry. We have Cece Olisa. We've done Lydia. We've done Megan O'Connor. We've done Hayat. I'm sorry. We have not done Hayat yet, but that's a little teaser. We've done Kelly Augustine, and just really great friends of ours and colleagues of ours in the industry who have supported us and said, all right, we're going to, give it a go. And what in turn makes us so happy, we always say on our sales that it's not about selling clothes. Honestly, you can go shop consignment at so many different places right now. Plus size consignment is really growing, and that's amazing for all of us.
Right, the fact that we have that now, right?
Exactly. I mean, not even 5 years ago we had that. So this has really come up in the last 5 years. So we are proud to be in that space. But what we feel makes us different is that we feel we're a community. Okay. On our lives, we're very relaxed. We chat, we talk about life. Our squad knows kind of everything that's been going on. They know my daughter, they know my husband. I know their issues. When something happens when a family member passes away, we are the first ones messaging them, hey, I heard through the grapevine this happened. I'm so sorry. And I think our community, are everyday women who want to be an Eloquii wearer or want to have something from Lane Bryant, but maybe their budgets cannot stretch that far. They're students, they're retirees, they're stay-at-home moms. We're looking for an outlet, a community to bond with, and I think Blogger House is able to do that with them, so that they're able to see, like, all right, you want to just trendy, you want to have fun, you want to try that sparkling sequin dress, well, you don't have to blow the budget because through us, you're getting it at a much affordable price point.
That's beautiful, and I have to say, like, for me, it's always funny because I'm always, like, purging. I'm old retail head for me, so I'm, like, always, like, finger spacing, velvet hangers, like, organizing, flipping, like, that's my life, like, and that's actually what gives me peace. Like, I'm color coordinating, all this fun stuff. And then I have, like, okay, the stuff that doesn't go into the closet goes into my smaller closet. And then after it goes from the smaller closet, I'm like, well, which pieces do I want from my personal closet? And then rotate over there. And then, like, I have, like, things that I'm constantly, like, giving away. For me, it's just like, who wants some clothes? So with you, like, you're saying that I could just, like, be like, here's my clothes.
Yeah,
and you would
you
sell
literally put it in a box, send it to us, and 2 weeks after your sale, you'll get a nice paycheck from us. That's the great thing about us is that we mass sell. So for our consigners purposes, we sell 60 through 80 pieces in one live sale. And we are selling either new or gently used clothing. So we always tell our consigners, think about what you would want to buy secondhand. You don't want to buy, something that's falling apart. You want to buy something that you can kind of get some wear or some life out of. And once we do your sale, literally within 2 weeks, you will get your PayPal PayPal payment based on the amount of pieces that you get. And for our influencers or even our regular squad members are women who just don't have a whole lot of time to get on, I don't want to say the name, but other competitor sites and list and take photos. And
yeah, I don't have all the time for that stuff. I don't have time for that.
Does. I mean, originally I started that avenue and I was like, how do people do this? I'm like, I don't have time for this. Also, the benefit that you're getting shopping with someone like Blogger House Curvy Closet and selling through us is that because we see such a huge influx of clothing, we've become experts in fit and cut and sizing. So I can tell you this brand runs small, that brand runs big. We don't do returns, but we don't need to do returns because our customers 9 out of 10 times their pieces fit because I'm able to say, oh guys, no, this one looks like it's gonna run small. Let me fit it to me. No, I know this is gonna run small or it's gonna run big or whatever the case might be.
So for those of you guys who are just tuning in, we are here with Ms. Darlene, and she is and I saw Sandra in the comments. Sandra's here too. She was like, "That's my partner." Shout out to her.
Awesome.
And then Georgette, I think it was Georgette, was like she sold 1,000 pieces already, or 100 pieces already. Where'd it go? But they're here today with Blogger House Curvy Closet. So this is an innovative way that they have taken upon themselves to do plus size consignment featuring the closets of various influencers. And through the Blogger House Curvy Closets, I say that 5 times fast. Squad, like you have a private Facebook group. There are people who's selling individual items or they do the Facebook Lives twice a week. We're specifically doing this, speaking of curves, to showcase other businesses, other business owners, designers, retailers, influencers, to show how we can support the community, especially at this time while everyone is kind of like the whole world just kind of stopped, right? And so in order to kind of continue the growth that has been happening in the plus space, it's important that we support these plus size brands and businesses. So for you, like, how does this work? How does this help support you? And what does support look like if someone doesn't necessarily want to sell? How can they still support you?
Well, we love having an interactive and an excited audience on each one of our lives. We tell people, just join us. Honestly, you don't need to shop, you don't need to sell, just be part of that community because a lot of conversations about being plus happens in that space. So be on the live, join us, share. Even we have audience members who have never purchased anything, but every single live they will get on and they'll share and they'll tell me, you are like reality TV. We love seeing what your life is like. And the sales can get crazy. I mean, we've been in quarantine. And my husband had to get quarantined for 3 weeks because he's a first responder. And we had the baby running around at one point, and she's like climbing all over me. And people are just like, yes, I feel like you're a real person. You're a mom. And I think people just need to be able to relate to one another. We have gotten into a world where influencers, I'm an influencer, so I'm not just speaking any bad about influencers, but sometimes we present ourselves very unapproachable in a world that's unrealistic. And I think at Blogger House, we want I want you to feel like I'm there shopping with you. Like I'm your girlfriend. Come on, girl, I'm taking you shopping. This is your class. This is your rack right here. You can shop all of these clothes. This is for you. There's no shaming. I'm not going to tell you what you can and you cannot wear, but I'm going to tell you if I think this is going to look real good on you.
I believe you. I know that that's what's going to happen. Real quick, I think her name is Giada. Giada asked, how do we join this consignment group?
Awesome. There is a link to the Facebook, and if Sandra is on, she can probably pop that in or send it over to your teams and Marie. And if you go to Blogger House Curvy Closet on Facebook, we have a Facebook page. We also have a website. On our website, we have links to everything. So the group is on there. The link to the live is on there. And any new announcements and changes, we have, we're gearing up for some really interesting initiatives that I can't speak of as of yet, but are really exciting. And we are gearing up also to bring back our style boxes. We piloted the first plus size consignment style box curated by influencers during the holiday season. It was amazing. The quarantine situation, COVID situation kind of put a pause on movement for us, but we're excited that once we can open our doors again, that we'll be able to get that back up and rolling.
So right now you haven't been collecting, or you have been?
No, we have been collecting. We have a contactless system. We have converted our garage into our warehouse, and we're able to kind of buzz in our consigners so that they can go in and drop off clothing. Some of them mail it still to us. We have consigners outside of the New York area who will ship their packages to us. And then we will do, if in the New York tri-state area, we do pickups that are also coordinated to be contactless. In New York, things are really crazy, so we try to be very, very, very careful.
Well, and New York has like a whole bunch of couriers and everything like that too, so it's like, it's kind of a little easier. So I get it. I get that. So then tell me, like, because of quarantine, your husband is a first responder. Like, how are you managing mentally? Like, how are you doing in your head?
You know what? I feel like it is, whenever I feel overwhelmed and stressed, I've gone through a lot of different things in my life. That there's a saying, take things one day at a time. Well, that's not even realistic in a time of crisis like this. So you have to take things a moment at a time. And that means that
an hour, a minute.
Yeah. A minute, a second. You might wake up feeling, oh my God, I feel amazing today. I'm going to get all this thing. And then right in the middle of the day, it might just be like, you know what? I'm done. That's it. Shutting down, and I need to stop. And I think that it is important to honor those feelings, to not feel pressured to be this like, oh my God, I need to do all these things. I mean, there's this like list of things that you're supposed to be, accomplishing now that we have all this free time.
Right.
And that's not true. I mean, that's not realistic. I mean, I guess somebody out there might have extra free time, but the energy and everything that's going on in our minds consumes, that's time taken.
Right.
And that's time that you have to give to sometimes to process those feelings and those thoughts. So it's waves. They are moments that I have like slipper chipper and I'm like running around doing a million things. And then there's moments that I have to step back and honor the fact that, holy cow, like we are living through a really rough time and this is hard. It's scary and there's a lot of things happening. And for us, for me, I think that's why these sales twice a week are so critical. Sometimes I laugh because the girls are like, oh, I really needed this sale. And I'm like, no, I needed you guys.
Aww.
Because I needed to kind of take my mind off of like everything that's going on and just be like how we're doing now, like chatting with my girls, and just having fun, talking about fashion. And for that 2 hours, I'm not thinking about like the 50 other million things that could be happening around the world.
So what advice would you give then? Like for you found what works for you and have found newer outlets or outlets that you've realized like, oh, they're this important. What advice would you give to either the wannabe entrepreneur, the one who's thinking about an idea, the person who's like experiencing a lot of life changes and alterations? Like what advice would you give for them in regards to kind of navigating some of the space?
There's a couple of tips that I would share. First of all, one thing that I think is really critical right now is to hone in on things that you love and things that you might be just naturally really good at. And I did do an IGTV on my personal page about this, sharing with folks, if you are looking to make some side money, because right now a lot of us have been impacted financially, economically. So if you are in the space of you need to make money, or you are looking to, maybe this is your calling, maybe you lost your job and you're thinking, maybe I'll just stay kind of doing my own thing, tap into what you love and what you're really good at. I mean, very quickly on, I realized, dang, I'm really good at selling clothes because I love clothes and I love this community. So it doesn't feel like work and it doesn't feel like inauthentic to me.
Right.
So I know people who love to craft, they love to create things, they like to paint. Use that time as a therapeutic time to kind of just do it for the fun and then eventually see, could this be a business venture for me?
Sidebar. Alicia wants to know the lip color you were wearing.
Actually, I have it right here. It's from Avon, and I got it in a swag bag, and it has become my go-to lippy. It's called Driven, and it is their soft matte liquid lip. And I love the name, but I also love the color.
I love the color on you. There you go, Alicia. Yeah, that's a beautiful color. They asked me to, but I'm wearing like a sheer color from Urban Decay. I don't remember the name.
Really good. The only reason I know is because I have it there, because when I wear it, I get asked a lot. It's a great color. And I hardly ever shop Avon. I never shop Avon. It was one of those things I was like, oh my goodness, I might need to go to see what other colors.
You know what? I actually love. There's a Avon has this matte powder, like this loose powder that mattes my face really amazingly. Like, I have to say, like, I am in love. Like,
I might need to look into that then.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, a lot of people be sleeping on Avon, but yo, they stay.
There's a reason they've been in business for so long.
They know, like, I bet you even now, like, they're totally, like, coasting through this. They're like, oh, we're not new to this. We're true to this.
Yes. That is very true.
So, okay, I know you kind of teased that you're working on something else for the Blogger House Curvy Closet. Like, what is one goal, or what is one thing you've learned business-wise, like through this, this pandemic, like business-wise, like what is one thing you've learned either about yourself or about things you could do with the business?
I think one of the really key things is being flexible. And I think that because we are right before everything happened, we had a expansion plan that was in place. And all of that had to be placed on hold because we can't come in contact with people, so we can't hire staff, we can't interview people. It's just what it is, right? And that's okay, because we are a business that can be flexible and we can move with the times. And I think that when you are creating your business plan, you have to remember that you always have to stay fluid and flexible, because you never know what's going to happen. And you have to think about, well, now that we are locked in here, we can't go in there. So what are the other avenues that we can tap into that are going to allow us to expand how we originally had planned, but not in the original path that we had set forth for us. So, and there's a lot of different ways of doing that when you are able to kind of step back from a situation and see, like, all right, well, it's this avenue, it's at that avenue. And I think sometimes we kind of get stuck on our own idea. For me, I'm very lucky to have a business partner that is like the yin to my yang. She's complete opposite from me. Oh, that's
good.
Yeah, and I think if you don't have someone like that as a business partner, get yourself a mentor who's like that, a friend, a business friend, someone who is complete opposite to you, that you can say, I'm a dreamer. So I'm like, I'll come into the room and I'm like, I think we should do X, Y, and Z. And she's like, no. That's not the way. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? She is much more practical. Okay. She is the planner, and she'll sit down and say, all right, can we do this? Have you thought about that? And I'm like, no, but doesn't it sound like a really good idea? And yes, in theory, it's a really good idea. But that's why, I think that if you don't have a business partner, find yourself a business mentor or a business friend that you can discuss these things. It is so critical to have other not like-minded people, other business-focused people in your life that you can, have conversations with about how you grow and how they grow.
Got it. That's smart, because I realized that, like, for me, like, I've had ideas that I've put aside, or I felt like, oh, that's too crazy, and then now, like, I'm all, well, maybe this could work. But I have a mentor, and she reads me for filth all the time and pushes me, and I'm like, I can do this? This is possible? What you mean? Like, okay, well, let's try it. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens. And, it's really important that we surround ourselves with folks who can help us actualize. But I think, too, we also realize in moments like this, like just how strong we are and just what we're made out of. And sometimes it even pushes and creates creativity, right? Like,
yes,
you'd be over here like, okay, I got to make $100 real quick. What can I do? And then you realize that quick little $100 is like a whole avenue for like life, basically.
Absolutely.
No.
And I'll share just very quickly with your audience that when I went, I had kind of had this plan 3 years ago to go full time as an influencer. Right? You and I even spoke about it, and I had the plan in place. I was like, I'm gonna save my coins so that I'm prepared. And then one day I came into work and my department was dismantled and I lost my job. I was laid off. I came home and I was like, what am I going to do? Let's start getting the resume out. And then I had sat down with my fiance at the point and he was like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, I think I'm going to go full time with this. So I had the plan. I was like, ready? Okay, I'm ready. I got all these. I created my nice little list of all the brands and everything I was going to work on. And then literally a month later, I became pregnant with my daughter.
Bless
so
you.
I was like, what's happening? And so I will tell you that when you have something, when you focus your mind on whatever it is that you want, and it's like a do or die moment. I was having a kid. She needed, things. This business needed to grow, and I needed to figure it out. And times like that, times like this right now, where many of us are being left with restricted incomes, and you have to make something work because otherwise your family's not going to eat, you're not going to eat, the rent's not going to be paid. These are the times where things come up, creativity starts to spark, and you become fearless.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
Fearless. Or, sometimes, there's the fearless, but then you can have a whole bunch of fear and just like leap. Mm-hmm. Moxie, right? Audacity. Mm-hmm. Like the I think that's what I've kind of been doing. Is just like, okay, let's see how this is gonna go. Mm-hmm. Like, and building along the way. Like that, I'm really, really happy for you. And I'm really excited to see just like how your path has grown and where it's going to continue to grow to, because this is really freaking brilliant. Mm-hmm. And however I can support, I'm only an email, a text, a DM away. Do me a favor, if you could tell folks everywhere where they can find you, what and how they can participate. We did drop the comment to your group in the comment section, but can you just go ahead and share?
So my business partner Sandra always laughs at me because I always ask her the same thing. What is our handle? And it's actually Blogger House Curvy Closet everywhere. So bloggerhousecurvycloset.com, Blogger House Curvy Closet on Facebook, and I know it's a mouthful, but it gets easier as time goes on, and Blogger House Curvy Closet on Instagram. So if you are looking for us, you could also find, eventually get to us through our personal pages as well, if you follow either Sandra or myself, but that is probably the easiest, Blogger House Curvy Closet.
Well, you said yourself, why don't you go ahead and drop your site, boo? Don't be shy.
I'm at Suits, Heels, and Curves, and Sandra is at La Pecosa Preciosa, and you can follow us as well. We're still working on influencer content and things like that. So as of right now, we see ourselves as managing 2 separate businesses, our influence work and our Blogger House business, and are very grateful for that.
I just have to tell you, I'm so excited about where you're going to go, what you're going to do, and how this is going to continue to grow for y'all. When I tell you I can already see some things, I can see it for you, I'm geeked as hell. So I'm like, ooh, this is going to be exciting. This is going to be, I'll tell you offline what I see, I'll tell you. But for those of you guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Sandra and Darlene. Sandra's over here. She's right here. But thank you. Thank you, Darlene, for joining us. For you guys who are tuning in, we do Speaking of Curves every Tuesday and Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We come to you with different designers, brands, influencers, all the different type of small business owners, so we can show and support. And that way you get a different insight and a look into their side of business, and you can learn how to support them in different ways. Until next time, I will talk to you guys later, and thank you again so much, Darlene, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.